Hi everyone, and welcome back to Drawing an Antler with me, part 2. And so as you can see, I haven't really done much to this image. Ooh, there's my hands. The only thing that I've done is used a paper stump. This one, as you can see, hopefully is a Derwent one. And I've just gone over certain areas and I've just smudged out bits. This paper stump was coloured originally, so I took a very sharp blade. Me and blades, we don't get on, and I kind of scraped over a bin away a lot of the mucky stuff, and then put it over sanding block just to take out all the muck, so I don't get any colour transfer onto the image. Still hunting for my Tombow mono eraser. That's still walking around somewhere. And but I do have my battery powered one, and still got a very sticky putty rubber. Likes to stick around. So sticky, it's silly. Ta-da! So I'm going to stick that on the glass, and I'm still on my Faber-Castell pencils. Now I have made a change to my desk. That's probably why the angle of the camera is slightly new. Underneath the drawing I did have my green craft mat, but sadly I was catching the ends of that and it was starting to cause damage to the drawing, and I don't want that. So I've taken all of that off, had to declamp absolutely everything, right nightmare. And then I've put just another sheet of this size cartridge paper underneath. So hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah, I can cross my fingers, can you? Hopefully this is gonna keep it clean and safe. And I've shunted the drawing up a little bit more so that I'm not pushing so much down here, because from kind of here onwards there's no support underneath this table whatsoever. So my table's long, it's just not deep, you know. Right, so where to start? Oh, I did drink my chocolate milk. But I'll move that out of the way. Right, and apologies in advance if there's bang crashes, whizzes, whooshes and other noises. It's the 30th of December and my neighbours think it's the 31st and they're setting fireworks off, so it's going to bang, crash, twinkle and spattly. You'll notice I'm not wearing any tops for a change. Not that it's warm, it's absolutely freezing in this place, but I've got a candle on and a tea light in a holder. In fact, it's an old trick that I learned years and years ago. If you have a ceramic base, you put a tea light, literally just one of those ones, onto a ceramic base and then put an upside down pot on it. The heat goes into the ceramic and then slowly heats the room. It's a good one for the elderly. Though elderly and fire, it's a little bit, yeah. But I've just got a tea light going to warm the room up so it's nice and toasty over in that direction. So, detail. I'm going to start adding some to this big antler. The paper's still very bouncy where I haven't been able to tape it down. Can't be helped. Small desk, hardly any room, you know. So I'm going to find, let's see. I don't want to go dark, but I don't want to go too light. Eeny, meeny, miny, moo. Let's go for a freebie, because I've got the base layers to a degree down. Get the pun? To a degree. So I'm going to pick up an area and start sketching. Now the angle that you guys can see is going to look a bit funny, especially this piece, because I'm seeing it at a different angle to what you guys are seeing it. So it is going to seem a little strange. Now I do need something rather important that I've completely forgotten. Oh, there's got a bit right there. Bear with me. Oh god, the floor's so far away. Spare piece of paper to rest my hand on, because I don't want any of my grease of my hands, and we all got greasy hands and mine are rather shiny for some reason. I don't want that transferring onto this paper because it's cartridge paper, so it's not good with water, liquid and anything like that. So I've got my spare leany paper, and hopefully we should be able to avoid any smudges or problems with the paper bobbling and such. And off we go. Enough waffle for me. Like I say, still going freehand, no idea what I'm doing, but what the hell. I haven't touched this drawing for a weeny while. I had hoped to do like a 12-hour block of just working on it, but my shift patterns have been a little bit irregular, and then I've felt too tired to approach them out. I've just finished a shift. I was just done an 8 till 5 shift and got home, done dinner, and then kind of cracked on. But it's not always possible, say after a 6 till 6 shift, to come home and sort this, kind of be motivated enough or have the physical energy to do this sort of drawing. I mean, I can see why it's important that you have to be in the right mindset for a drawing to make it work properly. And when you're not, it does affect what you will produce and the quality you'll produce. I mean, I am tired. I had to do our operations team's work today as well as my own, because a frozen delivery which wasn't expected turned up, so we had 5 cages of frozen. And yours sincerely here worked the lot. Most of the boxes average about 10 to 20 kilograms, and a very, very cold -24 freezer. So I had rather a lot of work to do. On top of doing like the whole bake for the store and cafe in the morning, and then supporting the cafe in the afternoon, then helping on food. So kind of jack of all trades, master of none. It's a little like me. But it earns a couple of pennies every day. That means I can afford art equipment like this eventually. Hopefully next couple of days I'm going to go to Monkey World, because I'm hoping to go. Normally in January they have a half price offer if you're local to the area, which I am, even though it's still a little bit of a drive, but we decided this year, what the hey, let's pay full price. It's not that expensive. It's only currently in 2018, end of 2018, it's about £12 for an adult and £9 concessions, which in truth is pretty darn cheap when you think of what the sea life centres and places owned by Merlin charge. And it's all rescued apes and primates, poor little things. And they've got a new one in, so I'd like to go and see her. And they do the most wonderful jacket potatoes on the planet. I mean, proper jacket, full size jacket like that, and then double the size of cheese on top. Not that I'm actually meant to be eating cheese, but ooh, that jacket and cheese. And they've got really nice customer service there, lovely gift shop. And there's, the funny thing is, there's a humongous playground at the back of the site, but people with little kids, because the kids get bored by the time they're halfway through the site, a lot of parents don't seem to go all the way to the back. And last time we went, there was a buzzard sat on the play equipment and got really close. It was absolutely stunning. So kind of going to be keeping a beady eye out this year for birds of prey. And they've got a wildlife walk as well. So I thought to myself, well, I need to get some coursework done. I've done loads of paperwork about Grayson Perry and his cross-dressing pots, wherever he is. And when I'm off to Monkey World, I'm taking a sketchbook, hopefully, if the weather's dry enough. And I want to get some gestural drawings, so just almost like shadows and silhouettes with a marker. and maybe a couple of pencils. Not taking a big field kit, literally just a couple of pencils and probably some grey Copic, or yeah, it'll be Copic markers for that. Maybe take a tan pad, so create different shadows and textures. This one smells nice. My little tea light's got a votive thingy from Yankee Candle above. It's winter time or Christmas time or something, and it's got a lovely smell to it. Sniff, sniff. So what I'm doing is I'm just right now picking up on a couple of the more defined lines on the antler, just so that I can mark them in. And I'm just pushing a little bit of the tonal values. Give me 2 seconds, just going to see if I've got something in my little kit bag. $50 million sharpeners, as always. Mini screwdriver set. Okay, God knows where that's gone again. Sometimes I can feel like grittiness on the paper, so I just make sure I use that to wipe anything away. Still feels a little bit gritty. Meh. So any marks that I make, as long as I keep my hand quite light, I can soften down and keep on layering up, and I should be able to get some really nice tonal variations. That was a freebie. I'm going to go for a 5B. I don't think that's 5B. Yeah, 5B. Well, just need sharpness. Let's find my best sharpener. This is why I use multiple sharpeners. That's not a great one. The Helix, it's okay, but it doesn't always produce a very fine tip. I do have a hand windy one, but I need to sharpen the blades on it. And then this little teeny one, no name on the back, just a general one, but the shape works really well. And I do have some swordfish ones, which are really good again. So, let's put it back. I can get that sharper. Sometimes you have to go a little bit further with the sharpener to take off. If you've used a different sharpener and then you start with a new one, sometimes you have to take out quite a lot of the wood so that it reforms the shape. But for a B pencil, that's got a really nice sharp point. I've got a little bit of a white embossed kind of mark here. I'm hoping I can get rid of that if I can't, well, meh. It's going to be one of those little issues. Just so if I can match my camera to the colour, and sadly I can't. This down here is a lot darker than it looks on the camera. Good old technology. Never quite works when you want it to. Right, so there's a bit here that I just want to soften down and then reapply. So that's where this stub comes in so handy. And once I can find my Tombow mono eraser, I can make some really nice sharp marks. I might actually just order another one because I'm always losing it. I think I know where it is, but every time I look, it's not there. So for this case, I've not had to go in with a 9B or anything like that, because the Faber-Castell pencils have just got that quality that you, even the 5B is really dark, whereas with a Derwent pencil, by now I would probably be going all the way to a 9B and probably tearing my hair out at the same time. For just gentle layering, works wonders. Originally I was going to do this image, I had contemplated doing it in pen, but I don't feel I'm competent enough in my mark making to do drawing this size in pen, and I don't actually think my suppliers will be able to handle it either. So in pen I'd be using like the 0.05 for the absolute pinpoint detail, almost pointism, and then using say the 0.8s for the outline and things like that. I may do a tiny version in pen, just depends on how much time I have. the antler that's sat on top has got quite a lot of scarring over it, so I need to make sure that I really add a lot of that detail in. But I haven't done the base layers of that one, so because there's no table here, I need to just go in quite tight and hold the paper just slightly. Good thing is there's a lot of shadow under this part, so if I need to push the drawing that way, I'll just bring the shadow, make the shadow wider. Let me just quickly just work out a little bit of the shadow. Sharpen the pencil a bit more. sometimes I find it quite a struggle to see like simplified shapes within an image, especially with something this detailed. But I'm feeling more confident where I'm seeing shapes, and then I can block them in, smooth them out, add to them and refine them a bit more. But it does seem weird trying to find small circles and squares and pockets of shadow within this antler. Smudgy. Where's my smudge? So I'm going back in and softening up a couple of those marks. So I can come through with the eraser and neaten up any of those because I'm not putting too much pressure in there. So I've got that choice available. Okay, so I'm now going to come in with, let's go for 7B. So I've mapped out a couple of little bits, and now I'm just bringing in another tone. But bear with me 2 seconds, and then I'll just see if I can find something. This is going to be a little bit more tricky if I can't. Bear with me. One last hope. With me. This is my my kit that I take if I'm going out somewhere. And there it is! Yay! Yes, I did just kiss my tongue on my eraser. So a field kit for me is some pencils, automated ones for ease, a smudger, a colour pencil, white Posco, a grey marker, and if I can, a set of the Derwent's sketching pens. They're nice and quick and easy to use. Ooh. And then on this side, this one's got to be changed because this was at work. Some other colour pencils and some more Copics and a pencil sharpener, of course. I need to change that for tomorrow, the next day, because I need to change markers. I knew this is worse. I knew this was around somewhere, but I just couldn't think of where. Right, the most important piece of the kit, because unlike this, okay, I can squeeze and manipulate. No rude jokes, please. But by the time we apply pressure, it's gone. This, that ain't going nowhere. I've got far more control. Hence, I do strongly believe in these erasers, and I'm desperate to use one. Right. You know what? I can't remember where I was going to use it. Oh yeah, up here. Right. And you'll see, as always with my razors, I make sure it's clean. And you'll see me constantly just wiping a little bit off of the paper. And that'll just mean a better erasing. Now, there was something around here I needed to take up. I'm just cleaning up a couple of the marks. That bit's okay because I haven't put any grey into there. That's okay. This bit needs a... I don't mind a couple of my original lines in here, but I don't want too many. That's where one of the big bits that I need to take out is. Right. And so the same applies with the eraser as does the pencil. If I make an erasing that looks really harsh and sharp, I can then come back in with the paper stamp, work around it and soften it off. This is why I like my paper stamp and my little eraser. These are so good for doing hair on pet portraits, these erasers. And you'd actually be surprised at where you can find highlights on a drawing if you really look. Someone's downstairs. I swear they've done washing up, but they're making noise again. Yeah, finding quiet study time around here is actually impossible. Right, I'm happy with that. Yeah, feeling happy with that. So 7B. So as you can see, I'm working on this patch of detail and then eventually pushing it right up there. Push. Apologies about the bits you can't see from this side. I'm having camera issues, so I don't move it. So this is a 7B. And in some areas I'm actually just going to go around the highlight. With the 7B I'm going to be picking up quite a bit more of the detail. Now, because this cartridge paper isn't the best, I'm getting a little bit of flaking on here. So I think it's going to be a 4-layer maximum. So to get rid of that, I'm not going to smudge it. Find paintbrush. just going to brush it away. That way I'm not smudging or damaging the drawing. Some papers you will be able to get a lot of layers out, and other papers you'll be restricted to just maybe even 3 layers. So keeping a light hand can really make a big difference between getting that extra little bit of detail in there and not getting it. I mean, there's some papers that you literally, it's 2 layers and that's it. So knowing your pressures and how much to put in is quite handy. But you only learn that through trying. I mean, I'm so used to watercolour paper and being able to get tons and tons of layers, or sanded UART paper, and then using that what does she call her stuff? Colour blender. We're using the colour blender solution on it, and it almost strips off a layer of the wax, and then you put another layer, and you can just go on forever with that stuff. So I'm used to seeing both sides, though I prefer being able to get as many layers as possible to be able to produce something that's got depth to it, especially when you're doing colour pencil work, because things like black, you don't want to put black as black, you want to use blues, purples, reds, and really make it rich, reddy browns, all sorts. Whereas a layer of black will always look quite flat. So the more layers with colour pencil I think is always very, very handy to have. Someone's making a cup of tea downstairs, but they won't get me one. So hopefully on screen you can probably see this area is looking a bit more detailed. That's because this is an area where the most layers are. A few of the marks are a little bit too raw, but I'll sort those out. Yeah, whatever's got embossed here is a bit of an annoyance because I can still see it. Might have to try and fill that with some powdered graphite. I mean, it doesn't stick out too much, but the thing is I can notice it, so... sharpener and this pencil I'm meeting, so just grab another sharpener. I can feel the wood isn't doing it properly. I'm going to swap back to this one. I think I'll use a freebie just to fill out a little bit of the colour here. Just stick some tonal marks over here. Hopefully this, me doing this live is going to help show you guys that some drawings you can take a few hours on, other drawings you can take a lot longer on. I mean, I'm glad I had a break from doing this drawing, because I think I was starting to get into a mental rut, and I've come back to it with fresh eyes and fresh thinking, and I'm feeling more happy with what I'm doing. So a good state of mind is always good. And soften up those marks again. Don't want too many raw marks on there. see, let's go for the 5B. I just want to sort this outline here out. And I'm just going to map in a little bit of the shadow. Not really put any detail up here at all. So here, along this piece about here, I've got another line where the paper's got damaged. So this I'll have to, once again, smooth out and work it, the graphite in there. And that's where that powdered graphite and a paintbrush is going to come in really handy. So with the 5B, I'm just going to mark in a couple more shadow areas. Well, not shadow, but areas where there's staining, more stain on the antler. And just roughly blocking these in. Oh, hi there, local monarch. Thank you very, very much for the follow. And thank you for popping in. Just drawing a fallow deer antler, or a dama dama, I think. Dama dama? Yeah, something like that in Latin. Prota te hominum. This drawing will probably take about 12 to 14, maybe more hours in total. And all done freehand, because at the end of the day, I haven't got a light box this big. Also, I'm not keen on the idea of light boxes. Hand-eye coordination, I think, is very important. I'm going to go back to my freebie. And I'm just mapping in and blocking in tones. I know I've got this piece wrong, so hopefully if I block it in, I can work it out. That'll do for now. So I'm just going over now with the 3B on this area where I haven't got much detail, and just adding that extra layer. Normally with this sort of live stream I probably would be playing music in the background, but because this one is going most likely, well, it is going to have to go onto my YouTube channel, and then I'm submitting this video for part of my assessment for my degree, hence sadly no music. But for my little sketch things, there probably in the future will be just Japanese metal music and things like that. Things that inspire me. Oh, I've got more crumbs. Where's that paintbrush? Oh, thank you very, very much. And this isn't even 10% done. We got a long way to go. I should have picked a bigger paintbrush, shouldn't I? Pick a pencil and a pencil. Freebie. You know there's a Shakespeare joke in pencils, which I think is quite hilarious. Because the older to be or not to be, that is the question. Today it's freebie. So I just wanted a little bit more powerful. Funny, every time I kind of blink I'm seeing detail in another place, and I'm like, oh, I need to capture that while I'm focusing on it. So I'm not glued to one exact spot, I'm moving around and picking bits up as I'm going along. Otherwise I'm going to get bored, and being bored on a drawing is not a good situation. That's when I get uninspired and I just put it aside and say, nope, we're not playing this game anymore. These little crumbs coming from? If I find where they're coming from, I'm gonna smack them one. Just remap out where this vein goes. I still can't believe that these are pretty much solid blood when they're growing. Absolutely amazes me. My place to go for 2019 has got to be the Southwest Deer Rescue. It's somewhere near Bristol, I think, and they have loads of rescued deer. I sadly had to put down one of their massive stags last month, I think it was. They found he had a tumour that was affecting him. But because the stags are allowed to grow their antlers to full size, they're huge. Something you don't often see due to trophy hunting and such. Let's see if I can get this camera to work. There we go. A little bit of a better idea of the lack of detail so far. Let's go this one, which is that one. I'm not great at technology, still learning. Now in this area here, there's loads of tiny white circles on the antler. So I'm going to do a very light layer of the freebie, and then when I come through with the Tom Bone mono eraser, and by the way, I'm not being sponsored to say that word, I just love it. When I come through with that eraser, that will pick up just enough and be subtle enough, because I don't want this area to be too dark. Oh, thank you very much. Hope you have a lovely evening. I just want it slightly longer. So I'm not going to go hyper realistic, because I'll end up giving myself sore eyes doing this. Just enough to make sure it looks like what it is. Diamond, tear, arrow, line. Okay, just seeing that this line here isn't a solid line, so I need to, it's more like a dotty line with breaks in it, and then it goes into a more liney shape. So I need to just break up a couple of the sharper lines. So there you go, just giving you a rough idea of this next layer and how it's changed the effect. So we've got the almost unlayered area over here, and we've got a few layers over here. So it does make quite a difference once you start layering up. And it's like a mid-tone. So this is what I call my mid-stage. So it's not neat, but it's not perfect. It's usable, but it's scruffy. So once I've got that side as good as that side, up to that standard, then I can come through with a really sharp detail and pick it up. But this is like the scruffy, mucky stage. And I find talking to people, a lot of people get to this stage with drawing and then they just think it's rubbish, I'm going to throw it away, and they walk away. But if you keep on trying. Maybe, okay, have a break, have a Kit Kat, have a cup of tea. If you come back to it and look again and keep on layering, keep on trying, you're going to be surprised at actually how a drawing can develop. I mean, I used to quit a lot of the time with my drawings because I got to the mucky stage and I was like, ugh, this is not working. In the bin, bing. But now I've learned that the mucky stage is a good area to be at because it's progress. And also, if I make any mistakes, it's a good time to learn from them. I mean, part of me would love to be able to draw Japanese manga art, like a lot of people online do. And then part of me would like to be able to do watercolour. But those aren't things that I'm very good at. And I've tried them and I get frustrated to a bad point where I know that there's no point in actually even continuing on. It's like me trying to knit. It's not going to happen. I can draw, but I can't knit. It is knit my sort of thing. So I know where my strengths are more. And I do try and experiment with different techniques, different styles. I'm going to be doing some colour pencil drawings of people again, but instead of doing a solid outline, I'm going to make sure I do a nice light outline and then use the marker pens to fill in the gaps. So not actually draw the clothes in pencil, but just draw the clothes in the marker with no outline, which I know I will struggle with like something else because I like an outline. As you can see by this, I've got to have an outline. But I need to break that habit. And even with this drawing, I'm going to try and erase quite a few of these very strong outlines to make the image look more natural. I've got to break this habit. Because I've got to progress with my art, I've got to develop. And I need to try new things. But I'm not doing anything insane. I'm not cross-dressing and selling pots. And I'm not drawing disturbing pornographic things like Tracy Emin and co. That's not me. If I'm going to go into the public eye with art, I'm not going to go into it because of my image, I'm going to go into it for my art. And I think a lot of artists nowadays, especially in modern art, if the artist themselves makes a big scene in a to-do and does something wacky, that chap who cauterised and pickled the shark and the cows and stuff in formaldehyde at the Tate Modern, Damien Hirst, wasn't it? It had no relevance. Most people know what the inside of a cow looks like because they eat it every Sunday. But because it was all drama and show, people went to see it, even though the hall stunk so badly of formaldehyde that people were collapsing. So I'm not going to be doing anything like that. I may dress up a little bit on occasion, but only smart, because at the end of the day, I want to be seen as a smart person in image at least. I might not be mentally smart, but at least I can dress tidily. No, I'm not going to be a wacky person who does something stupid or eye-catching and then that's all you're remembered for. I mean, Louise Burgers, something like that, her drawings of men's genitals and her temper tantrums in her studio for smashing things. That to me isn't something that I want to see. That's a turn off. That's kind of a, ooh, that person maybe should go to counselling, have a nice day, goodbye. I'm not interested in the sense in the artist. I'm interested in the art. I think that's where I am different from a lot of mindsets of artists. But there are some things I do not plan to conform to. Jeez, I'm not going to stick a silly hat on so I can prance around Trafalgar Square. I'm not going to make pots. I'm certainly not going to make pots. You're not going to catch me doing pots. Too mucky. And one mistake and you end up, we're a mess. So let's bring that out again. So on this piece, hopefully you can now start to see where I'm just, with the 3B, picking up little areas of shadow and just pushing them a little bit. I'm not putting major amounts of tone in. And then I can come through if I think something needs a little bit to be a little bit lighter. If I really want to, I can smudge it right down. But for now, I'm just going to leave this quite raw and then come through, smudge, and go from there. Now I've got an extra line here that I need to map in. Just there. So you can hopefully see how the drawing's progressing from those few little marks, and suddenly from a couple of random marks and lumps and shadows and little shapes, it suddenly starts to become one image. Now I know up here I've got a block of shadow. Now I'm going to try and fill in a little bit up here. Just fix a bit of this. I'm not overly, this is the main area I'm not overly happy with, but we'll fix it. There's a way and all of that. Because I've drawn the line coming too close. There's a line that comes, it doesn't go there because there's a bend in the antler, so it comes over here. This is where fixing those mistakes comes in quite handy. And then there's a scar along there. And then it carries on up here. And then there's a lump of darkness just there. Goes over to the scar. And then there's a whopping great big crack stroke scar here. So I'm just working out areas and tones where I probably need to pay a little bit more attention to. And there's another piece that comes out here. Now, for these bits, because they're ultra scruffy, my stub is starting to get a little blunt, so I'm just going to twist the end just to tighten it up a little bit. Might have to sharpen it up. So for this bit, where there's not really any graphite on the paper, I'm going to really smudge quite a lot around. And that's going to give me that nice base layer that I can then pick up and work from. I'm going to smudge a lot of this out. I can pull and push it around. Because of course I'm picking it up with this bit. I can soften that up a little bit. And this should change the drawing again. It'll create a slight change in there. And just get that right in there. And soften up that shadow as well. So then, after softening and blurring, I'm going to come through with my faithful little tomahawk and just pick up important pieces. And because I've got that undercoat, I can now really mark out bits, because they're going to show much more. And then another layer, take back, another layer, take back. Need to break that line up a bit. So this one up here isn't as strong as this veining. I need to make some changes along there. I need to sharpen up this piece here. And these bits down here. So then if I come in with the 5B, make sure I get the right pencil, and then just pick up a couple of those pockets of dark and light, that should make this whole area pop a lot more. It's going to look a little bit raw though, because I've still got to soften it down. It's 1, 2, there. Yeah, sorry about the noise in the background there, if you can hear it. So I'm going to come back up here and just put more depth into this part. And again up here. And any areas where I've got those little highlighty bits, I can come through and make them stronger or lighter if I need to. And what I will do is probably once I need to put in this spotting and dashing is where I'll bring in the automated pencil, which is a 0.5 and a 0.3 nib, and that'll just give me a lot more control over the marks and dashes that I make. And the grades that I've got for those will be probably a freebie. So right, there we go. Right. So, I think I'm going to call that a night. That's over an hour done. So I hope that's given you a bit more idea of how I'm thinking and the process I'm going through. And I hope this is going to help inspire you guys to have a go at doing detailed drawing and having a go at doing drawings that are going to take time. I mean, this isn't a 2-scale drawing. This is me just trying to get that onto the paper freehand, and just working and working, going for it. So yeah, till next time, thank you very much for everyone who joined me, and hopefully, like I say, have another episode soon. Can't say when, no schedule, work and all of that. And please keep being inspired by the world around you. All the best and happy drawing to you all.